Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about validation and why you should not need it. So, it's so nice to get positive validation. It is so nice to have somebody appreciate you and say nice things about you and give you a valid reason for existing and all of that. But it shouldn't be needed. You don't need anyone but your own opinion. And if you rely on external validation for that good feeling, when you don't get it or when you get negative validation, it's not good. It's not fun. You kind of feel really hollow inside. It screws you up. It's just not enjoyable. So that's why we're talking about basically like how validation can kind of screw you up, and it can happen from such a young age, and then you tend to rely on it and need it, and it's just not a good situation. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking recently. As somebody who's on social media a lot, I get a lot of comments, and a lot of people are incredibly kind and amazing, and I love you for that, and it is so heartwarming. But I have to keep in mind that I cannot receive all of my validation externally. You know, I have to like myself because I like myself. And it sounds weird to say, but when I get a negative comment or somebody sort of detracting from who I am, it can be difficult. And especially when I began doing this stuff, it was really hard to sort of wrap my head around it all, you know? Like I would get a negative comment and I would feel bad for like 2 weeks, and I'd be really insecure about whatever they were saying or whatever they thought. And um, I would feel like I was in the wrong or I did something so bad. And at the end of the day, like, it should come back to who you are and how you like yourself. Because even your closest friends and family should not be the ones that you rely on for validation. You are valid. You exist. Like, that's just it is what it is, you know? The idea that you need to somehow be validated for your existence by other people, it's kind of a screwed up thing, you know? And like I said, it starts from a very early age. I think even as little kids, like, we want validation from our parents, from our grandparents, from friends, teachers, um, and we really rely on it. And so when we get praise for doing something good, we then associate that activity as something good for the rest of our lives, you know? Um, Certain behaviors and things like that. And that's basically like you're training a child to exist in society, but you're also setting them up for requiring that external validation and needing to have that praise from other people. And that is a really negative thing. Um, Taoism teaches us that we do not have control over our external world and universe. And so trying to get trying to have something that reliably comes to us from the external universe is never going to work, because the world isn't consistent. The world doesn't maintain a structure or an order. Like, things decay, things are born, things change. And so trying to rely on external validation, external anything really, leads to hardship and suffering. And many of the world's religions teach that, not just Taoism. But that kind of philosophy is important to keep in mind, because if you can develop a thick skin and develop a state of mind where you don't need external validation, where it's nice, you know, oh, thank you, like, that's such a nice compliment. I like how I'm dressed as well. Um, then you become kind of unstoppable. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. If you can go out of the door every day, and like, if you can leave your house every single day and go out into the world and feel good about yourself, feel good about who you are, what you're doing, your goals, feel like, you know, you don't know everything, but you know enough to feel confident in who you are, suddenly it really doesn't matter if someone compliments you or if you get cut off in traffic or any of this stuff. You become really self-actuated and, like I said, unstoppable. So that's kind of that's kind of my thought for the day. Validation, you don't need it. It's nice. It's always nice to know who cares about you, who appreciates you, and there's nothing wrong with giving people external validation, but I think you need to be unstoppable. And in order to do that, you have to realize that no matter where you are, what you're doing great and you have survived so much. And you don't need some guy on the internet wearing a headband to tell you that you're amazing, because you should know that. You should know you're amazing. Any person, I have never met somebody who wasn't extraordinary and who didn't survive incredible obstacles. And I have never met somebody who was ordinary or boring. Everyone is unique and powerful. And I think when you realize how much you've survived and how much you have grown as a human being and how much good you bring to the world, you really do become unstoppable. You stop needing that external validation and you kind of just begin to conquer the world in a very positive way, you know. So that's my thought. Don't let me validate you. Just know that you don't need it, that you are valid, you exist. I know in the LGBT community, we make a big deal of saying, you're valid, you exist. But that doesn't really mean a whole lot unless you have the sentiment behind it and unless you believe it in your head and you actually believe it yourself. Like I can tell you that you're valid until the cows come home, but unless you truly embody it and believe that you deserve to be here, you're never going to feel like you deserve to be here. So I truly hope that you know that you deserve to be here, but I hope it comes from within and it doesn't just come from me, because that's the whole point. So guys, let me know your thoughts on validation and what it means to you, how it affects your life. I think there can be like several exercises you do in your daily life to feel valid and to feel good. You know, I think about some of the hardest things I've ever had to do and just thought like, man, I can't believe I was able to do that at like 13 years old. I was able to do that. That's incredible. Like, man, props to me. And, you know, there's other activities and other lessons that you can do to do that. Like whenever someone gives you a compliment, you can thank them, you can be very courteous. And then as you're walking away, you can think to yourself like, okay, that was nice, but I don't need that validation. You know, I know I'm doing good. I know I look great. And you know, that's the beauty of life. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.